So there are several ways you can process your emotions. You can feel your emotions in the way that I tell people to, in the way that I see is very beneficial for healing. And the first one that I will recommend, and that I also have incorporated in many of my videos, is one where you use self-directed compassion. Now, in those videos, I also explain that self-directed compassion helps you to dissolve imprints of emotions that are there, because compassion is a dissolving energy. And so pairing your statements, or pairing certain statements with compassion, really helps to kind of release certain emotions that have been there. Why? Because these emotions have been there and haven't been able to fully process, because they haven't been seen, they haven't been acknowledged, they have been shoved away, they've been denied, they've been dismissed. And so using that self-directed compassion to acknowledge them, to see them, to kind of say, hey, I know that you're there, and I know that you felt that way, and you have every right to do so, right? And like, you have every right beyond logic, beyond like having real, how do you say that, logical reasons for why you feel that way. You are allowed to feel that way regardless. It really gives your body, your system, space to feel, to finally like experience those emotions. And the most important thing for your body to do when it comes to processing emotions is to experience it here. And a lot of the times people are caught up here. Now, I want to explain the difference between getting caught up here and really feeling here. So getting caught up here in your head is intellectualizing, and that often happens when we focus on the story of what happened. So the story of what happened could be, hey, I got betrayed by my boyfriend, right? And if we play that story over and over in our head, that is not something, we might be feeling about it as well, but it's also us reinforcing that trauma of the story that happened. And in a little bit, I'll take you through the process, the second process that I'm going to talk about, how we can go from just experiencing up here to really feeling down here and making it something that is worthwhile, something that is benefiting us, instead of like looping in our head and going over and over and over that story, because that is only re-traumatizing. You know what? We're gonna do that right now. So besides that self-directed compassion that I just talked about, that is available in some of my videos. I will specifically name that it's self-directed compassion, so you can check them out. I'm not like that well versed in YouTube yet that I can link the video, but maybe one day. But you can just scroll through. Besides that, there's also just experiencing your emotions, and this is something everybody can do. This is something you don't need a practitioner, you don't need anybody to support you with. Okay, so what I want you to do is find a space, a place where you know you won't be disturbed in a, like, let's say 10 minutes. And essentially all we're going to do is allow emotions to surface and feel and move through them. Okay, so found your spot, and the first thing I want you to do is breathe, because breath is really, you know, the thing that also helps us process. It's something that, you know, keeps us alive. And having our breath and really giving that to our full body will help this process as well. So just take a deep breath in, land, you know, land. Be present here. Presence is incredibly important, to be here, not in your head, not somewhere else, right here, because that's where the feelings are as well. So if we are here, taking another deep breath. And what I want you to do is think of something. So if you're viewing this video, there's probably something that you want to process, right? So I would love for you to bring up a little bit, just a little bit of that story of what is hurting you, just a little bit. So, you know, play that in your head, just a little bit, just that amount, until you start feeling the emotions coming up. And a lot of the times when you're playing something in your head, that story, you start to cry, you start to feel pressure in your chest, something in your body is feeling uncomfortable, it's feeling contracted. So as soon as you have that, drop down into that which is feeling uncomfortable. So let's breathe into our body. And with the story, with what happened to you, we just want to scan your body for where it is that is feeling uncomfortable, that is feeling contracted, that is feeling any sort of discomfort. So let's just scan the body. So it might be like you're feeling pressure on your chest. Might be that your stomach feels a burning sensation. Whatever it is, let's just drop into that. And a lot of the times that is where we get scared to drop into that feeling. That is what we've been avoiding for so long. And basically that avoidance is what we call suppressing and denying. Suppressing and denying our emotions, because our emotions live here, not here. So let's just drop in. And it's okay if you're scared to feel, to fully feel. We're just going to allow a little bit of that emotion to surface. And so if it's sadness that wants to come up and it's like coming up in your throat and your throat is feeling heavy, we just want to drop into that throat. And so for whatever is happening in your body, whatever you can sense, even if it's a little tiny sensation that feels like it's coming up, we just want to drop into that. And by dropping into that, I mean just allowing that feeling to rise without us trying to resist it. And what will happen is, as it surfaces, there's a sensation of it moving through your body. And it might end up in tears. It might express itself in a yawn. It might come out as a burp. Like, all of these are different ways of release. And I also would recommend, especially if you're first trying this out, if you've never done this before, what really helps is to meet that sensation. So these sensations that are moving through your body as you are putting your awareness on them, it helps to meet them with a hug or a touch. So you can imagine yourself hugging them or touching them, and really acknowledging that they are there, that the sensation is there, that you see, feel, experience this sensation. So for me right now, there's a sensation in my heart. It's very small, but all I'm doing right now is like, I can do it internally, so imaginatively, but I'm also putting a hand on my heart just to let it know that I know it's there. And as I'm doing that, I can feel it rising to my throat, and it wants to come out as a burp. And that was an emotion rising in real time. So I'm going to take you through it shortly one more time. We're just going to bring up your story really shortly. So think about the thing that hurt you. And as soon as you think about it and it starts to sting and you start to have a response in your body, you drop the story and you tend to your body. You tend to the sensation, the physical experience, sensational experience of what is happening in your body because of that story. So you have the story. Then as soon as the sensitive part, that stinging part of that story starts, and you start to feel something in your body, you leave your head and drop down to your body. You start to bring your awareness to What is happening as a result of this story within my body? And then we want to give our attention to that. We want to be with that sensation. We want to give it our undivided attention. Sometimes it has a message for us. Sometimes it's certain words that we've suppressed. Sometimes it's certain just emotion, raw emotion that wants to come up. And at this point, when raw emotion wants to come up, breathing helps. Because a lot of the times when we resist, we also hold our breath. So breathing through this helps. Allowing the emotion to rise, to be there, to really be experienced. Give it room. If it's anger, feel that wrath, feel that fire come up, rise in you. It won't hurt anybody. It will just be felt in your body. It will just be experienced in your body. And so the only thing that it wants to do is it wants to rise and leave your body. So when you give it a platform to be seen, to be heard, to be acknowledged and experienced, it's when it feels processed. That's when it feels like, okay, I've done my thing and I can leave now. And so this is what you do when you're not working with a practitioner, you're not being supported in a way, or you don't have the skill set to do an actual, modality on yourself. This is what you do when certain emotions come up. Instead of holding on to them, instead of like becoming contracted and suppressing them and denying yourself that feeling, you start to allow it by bringing your awareness to it and allowing the sensation to be played out, to be felt. And sometimes with very heightened emotions, it can become very intense. The intensity won't last long. It will last maybe a few seconds. And then the peak will happen, and then it will simmer down. And then you've actually given your emotions space to be felt. You've given yourself a voice, a platform for your emotions to be felt. The things that you've been through, the things that have hurt you, the things that have affected you in a certain way. And really the acknowledgement and the compassion starts with you. It starts with you giving yourself the space to feel. Because no matter what it is that you've been through, no matter whose fault it was, no matter who did what wrong, that's all intellectualization. What your body really needs, what your system really needs for healing, is that space to feel regardless of what happened and all the details. So my intention is that this video was very helpful. And if you have any questions, drop them below. I will see you in my next video. Bye.